With all humility, our keynote speaker is Dr. Mustapha Abdul-Hameed, CEO, National Petroleum Authority.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Sheikh Mustapha Briggs, Imam of the National Mosque, Chairman, chiefs, students, fellow Muslims, I greet you in the greetings of Islam, saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I don't know why PPF said that I am guest speaker or keynote speaker or whatever title it is that they've given me this evening. I think that we all came here because of Sheikh Mustapha Briggs. And so I will consider mine as remarks rather, because I'm not going to say anything significant, except to add that for those who know me and those who hear me on every platform, whether it is a youth platform or an Islamic platform or a student platform or even a political platform, I have made it a decision that whatever opportunity I get with a microphone, I will remind us about the importance of the unity of the Muslim Ummah. Perhaps people will think that I am overflogging the issue. But the lecture that we have listened to today should, if you want, prick our consciences, prick our awareness, excite in us a sense of pride that indeed we are Muslims. And the reason this is important is that we have basically surrendered our dignity, our development, our forward march to, first of all, non-Muslim populations and people. Secondly, we have also acceded to white supremacy. Don't you feel terrible that your sovereign parliament passes a bill and white people sitting in Washington and places around the world threaten that if you implement that bill, they are going to withhold support for your economy? Quite frankly, if you are not upset or your conscience is not, what's the word that I should use? If you don't feel terrible, one as a Ghanaian, two as a black person, and even three as a Muslim, then I don't know what else will awaken you to the reality that your humanity is almost gone. Yet, I like what the president or leader of PPF said. Yet we continue every day, and I said this to Sheikh Mustapha Breaks in my office when he came to pay a courtesy call, and I want to say it again, that I have stopped listening to imams and sheikhs in Ghana. And he came with an imam, a leader of a prominent mosque in Accra, and I said, Imam, wallahi, na bari jinku, na bari some. Because I said to him, Imam, wallahi, 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 mba kutasi seiba ranan kiyauma, kuna the problem. Mudu kademuna the problem. Ama, those who say they are the imams and the sheikhs and the leaders, they have bigger problem. Because 21st century dunya, and every discourse that I hear on social media, on radio, everywhere, is about whether Salat al-Fatihi is superior to Salat al-Ibrahim. In the 21st century, Ghanaians are still engaged in a debate that was abandoned centuries ago. In the 21st century Ghana, Imam Mustapha, it will shock you to realize that people still debate about Jam'o Salat and Salat that should not be Jam'o, and people debate about when to break a fast. Nobody in Ghana, Imam, I am telling you, no Imam in Ghana preaches the forward movement and the progress of the Ummah. Nobody. So I stopped listening to them. I don't attend tafsir, nothing. Because there's nothing that I am going to learn in any of these religious gatherings. And that's very sad. And that's very sad. Imam Mustapha, you have traveled around the world, and we have had a good setting since you came, from my office to the dinner and everything. You have traveled around the world. Are people still engaged in debates about which salat to the Prophet is superior? Are people still engaged in the propriety of Jam'u Salat? Nobody does these things anymore. Those debates are done and dusted. Now, Sahih Bukhari and Muslim and Tirmidhi and all of the so-called Sahih Sita are available on people's mobile phones, for God's sake. They are available. Now, if there's a word in the Quran, you are looking for a verse in the Quran, all you need to do in the modern 21st century is to remember a single word in the verse. And then when you go to searchtruth.com and you insert that word, all the verses in the Quran that have that word will show up. So really and truly, imams should move beyond that. They should move, because the Ummah have caught up with you. And yet you are still there and telling them the same stories. You should move and tell us something new, because anybody who is engaged or does Salat al-Fatih, wallahi, 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 it is not your saying that Salat al-Fatih is un-Islamic that will cause them. If they wanted, if your preaching would have abolished or killed Salat al-Fatih on earth, it would have done so centuries ago. So the fact that it hasn't changed anything, the fact that people still do wazifa, should tell you that you are engaged in an exercise in futility. So you are, and I ask the people, who came to my office, and I asked the Imam, Nache, Imam, and I mentioned all the big Imams and the Sheikhs in Ghana. Nache, wallahi, Imam, ni bantabaga publication so ko gudaba, ko inaba. And he says, GASKIYA. Nache, so ya meneni ilimi. What is ilm? What is knowledge? What is knowledge? For those of you who go to school and you write thesis and everything, when you come to defend your master's or your PhD thesis, they ask you one fundamental question. The thing you have done, what is its contribution to knowledge? That's the question. Am I lying? They ask you, what is your contribution to knowledge? So I told them the story of the drunken man who got drunk and was going his way. And then he saw people doing waji. And then he stopped to listen to the wazi. And then the Imam was, Komsheni Muhammad say, Otunfo Nyankopon say. After 30 minutes, the drunken man then interrupted the Imam. Komsheni say, Otunfo say, Wankasa says. You see, you may think that it is the talk of a drunken man, but Wankasa was saying it's an important question. Dear Otunfo Nyankopon Akano, Ewo Quran mu obia wo Quran nibi. There's an English Quran, there's an Urdu Quran, there is Quran in several languages. So dear Otunfo Nyankopon say no, ye nyina ye ni, ye betimi akenkan. Dear Komsheni Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam so kan. It is also on my mobile phone. I can see one kasano saying. What do you say? What you sitting here? I have learned a lot from Sheikh Mustapha Briggs. I have. Wallahi, I have. And the things that I have learned from him, they are not in the hadith. That's why I don't know them. That's the only reason I don't know them. Because they are not in Sihah Sita. And the things that he has said, they are not in the Quran. Or even if they are in the Quran, and I'll tell you one of them that are in the Quran that I never knew until I sat here. We all know that it is in the Quran that the first creation was Adam. And that all human beings are called Ibn Adam. That we are all descendants of Adam. But I never knew, and you will never see it on the face of the verse or the verses of the Quran, that Adam means humus, black soil. I just learned it here. So he now takes me back to the hadiths. And when I was sitting, he just gave me a copy of his book. The page that I opened, I saw his quoted hadiths from Buhari and Muslim, in which when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is talking about people's complexion, he says that they have an Adamic complexion. So if they say that you have an Adamic complexion, that means you are black. So that means that Adam means black soil. Why? Because even in the English language, we are called human. And human comes from the word humus. And humus, I just Googled it when I was sitting. It says humus is the dark organic material that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decays. That's humus. And you are human, which means you came from humus. And when you die, it says when you decay, you become again humus. So from sand you came, from sand you shall return. Which means humus you were, humus you will become. That is not in the Quran. Adam is in the Quran. But the understanding, the discernment that Adam means humus, I just learnt it today. I've never Googled the word humus. But when he was doing the lecture, then I Googled, and then I put 2 and 2 together. So I told him, I said, Sheikh Mustapha, Wallah, you are the first preacher, Muslim preacher, foreign or whatever, who is doing a lecture that I am attending. Because I know I would learn. Everywhere else I go and sit, I only take home what I already know. Because you are going to be quoting Quran and Hadith, and I have all of them in my library in my house. There is no single Hadith book I don't have. So why should I come to tafsir? For what? And the truth of the matter, I am very sorry that I have to now say these things. I say them to my congregations, all these people. But it's important that we awaken our sheikhs. We should awaken them. Come on, they should wake up and learn. Because you returned from Al-Azhar or Medina University in 2000, in 1995, in 1986. The literature that you learned in Medina, wallahi, thousands of theories have gone past what you left in Medina. That's why for those of you who go to school and do masters and PhD and you are writing your thesis, your lecturer will cancel your references and say, this is dated, this is dated, this is dated. Nobody accepts a reference that is 10 years old. Yet your sheikh returned from studies 20 years ago, and then he says things, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So I'm begging you in the name of God, don't misunderstand me. It just pains me as a Muslim that we are the custodians of knowledge, yet we have abandoned knowledge. Today, our students, and that's the last point I will make. I said I was going to say something small. Our students go to school and they learn about all the Muslims who pioneered knowledge. Yet they leave the university and they don't know that they were reading about Muslims. So if you take all the books on Ibn Sina, they refer to him as Avicenna. So there are Muslims who go to school and read Ibn Sina's philosophies and everything and leave and never even know that he was Muslim. When you go and read all the books of Al-Farabi and his philosophies, they say Averroes. Because, so why don't you, the Imam or the Sheikh, take the original Al-Farabi and then translate it and write the proper name Al-Farabi? Kawai, keke. But the arguments don't impress me. The arguments that go on in Ghanaian Islamic scholarly space does not impress me. Salat al-Fatih, Jam'u, went to breakfast. The people know for themselves. Wallahi, people know that for themselves. They all have it on their phones. Let us say something new, something different, something that will excite our people and get us to move on and be knowledgeable. Let me also say something positive. Quite frankly, we've made progress. We've made progress. Today, for the first time in Ghana, we have a Muslim, young Muslim, who was my student, who is Ghana's Minister for Finance. That's progress. That's good progress. Nobody, Dr. Muhammad Adam, nobody ever would have believed that one day a Muslim will control Ghana's public purse. Now we do. If we stop arguing and dividing ourselves, but we have divided. But if we come back to uphold this thing together, it is possible one day to have a minister for defense who is Muslim, a minister for finance who is Muslim, a minister for interior who is Muslim, and perhaps even a minister, a Muslim who is president. It is possible to happen in Ghana if we stop and we concentrate on the things that ought to be done. And I'm very sorry if you think it's political. You don't have to. It's not political at all. But to be honest, I pray that one day a Muslim will be president. If you don't want Baumia, that's another matter. But by all means, be a president. Yourself, you, be president. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Be president. Are you following the point I'm making? And you are not going to be president. When Sheikh Mustapha came to my office, he prayed for me. And he said, Dr. Mustapha Abdul-Hameed, I pray that one day you will be president. Wallahi, I answered, Amin. Wallahi, I answered. Pa, ngalai the president, wallahi nasu. Are you following the point that I'm making? So, please, let's admonish ourselves, especially the young people. We don't have to join our imams in their arguments. I'm trying to quote a scholar, a Sudanese scholar, and go and sit down. I've forgotten his name, but I'll just say it. When I remember his name, I will say some film. He teaches at Stanford law school. And he says that every Muslim, listen to him, says every Muslim has a right to read the scriptures and understand it for themselves. Every Muslim. Because he says that if you read the spirit of the Quran, all accountability is individual. There is no group accountability on the day of judgment. So God is not going to judge Wahhabis collectively. God is not going to judge Tijaniyas collectively. You are going to be judged as an individual. So I told Sheikh Mustapha Briggs, I don't know what my Aqidah is, because my Aqidah is a mix of everything. And I told him the zikrs that I do, and I said they are Naqshbandi zikrs. And then he said, why? I said, Naqshbandi zikrs are very beautiful. Ya Latifu ya Hafizu ya Mugisu ya Allah, 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 Ya Latifu ya Hafizu ya Mugisu ya Allah. Then Hawa told me, but there are Naqshbandis in Ghana. I said, I didn't know, wallahi. And I said, next week I'm going to look for them. Because I don't care about titles, about labels. I just care about the content. What's his name? Farhan, Louis Farhan. He says that if you are a drunken man, you don't care about the label of the bottle, you care about the content of the bottle. That's what drunken people care about. They don't care about labels. So, as Muslims, we should go beyond labels. Because quite frankly, if we were to hold our imams to account, they will all fail. Because Allah tells the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the Quran, says, "Oh, you Muhammad, those who divide their religion into sects, you are not part of them." So really and truly, even the Prophet will feel terrible that this is what we have made Islam into. Nobody refers to themselves as Muslims anymore. Let's just be Muslims. If there's something in Tijani doctrine that you like, please do it. If there's something in Wahhabi doctrine, appropriate all of it like I have done. Amalgam of everything. and then I just do it and I feel good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hafiz TV, unique every day. Hafiz TV, unique every day.